Girl, tonight we're gonna make love. You know how I know? Because it's Wednesday. And Wednesday night is the night that we usually make love. Monday night is my night to cook. Tuesday night we go and visit your mother. But Wednesday we make sweet weekly love. It's when everything is just right. There's nothing good on TV. You haven't had your after-work social sports team practice, so you're not too tired. Oh, it's all on. You lean in and whisper something sexy in my ear like, I might go to bed now, I've got work in the morning. I know what you're trying to say, girl. You're trying to say, oh yeah, it's business time. It's business time. It's business. It's business time. I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say it's time for business. It's business time. Ooh, it's business. It's business time. Oh, yeah. Then went in the bathroom, brushing our teeth. That's all part of the foreplay. I love foreplay. A shake, a shake, a shake, a shake, a shake, a shake. Ow. And you sort out the recycling. That isn't part of the foreplay process, but it is still very important. Next thing you know, we're in the bedroom. You're wearing that baggy, old, ugly t-shirt you got from your work several years ago. You know the one, baby, with the color stain. I remove my clothes very, very clumsily, tripping sensuously over my pants. Now I'm naked, except for my socks. And you know when I'm down to just my socks, what time it is. It's business. It's business time. You know when I'm down to my socks, it's time for business. That's why they call business. It's business. It's business time. Yeah. Make a love. Make a love for. Make a love for two. Make a love for 2 minutes. When it's with me, girl, you only need 2 minutes. Because I'm so intense. You whisper something sexy like, is that it? I know what you're trying to say, girl. You're trying to say, oh, yeah, that's it. Then you tell me you want some more. Well, I'm not surprised. But I'm quite sleepy. It's business. It's business time. Business hours are over, baby. It's business.
I mean,
oh, that's right. It is Wednesday. It is business time. The one day of the week that we usually make love. Here we are.
like P. Diddy love.
Bro, that's wild. Wow. Before we get into that, welcome in. It's Friday or Wednesday. It's whatever day it is. I don't know. Welcome to the Under 4 Fan. We are back. Full recap. Degenerate gambling happened in MLB as well as the MLB kickoff. New NFL rule changes. Prop betting galore scandals. Who would have thunk it? We are getting into it. And P. Diddy apparently on the run.
On the lam. Yeah. Supposedly turned his transponder off on his plane as well, too. But I heard rumors of Barbados and, he's
in the Bahamas, or at least the jet is in the Bahamas. Have you been following along with this? Because I know that you were very fascinated with the Drake video. So
that's completely different.
Still, along the same lines of sexual pornography. So I'm expecting you to be
not really. This is about like multiple rappers getting popped by Diddy. There's Meek Mill has come
sex
out
trafficking as well,
and had like a a full denial about how straight he is and how much he loves women. But then there's like a song that I saw where Meek Mill is like apologizing for what he did with Diddy in like his intro multiple times.
Well, I also saw that there was something where Meek Mill has come out and said that he is bi, and that maybe that's the same, and loves P. Diddy.
I didn't see that. I don't think that's an actual thing. I think that's it might be the PGA Tour.
Nah. You know what? And for all of you out there, including Paul, if you don't want me to believe something, don't fucking send it. All right? Because that's exactly what he was trying to say on that last thing that he sent about, like, oh, the bridge, right? The bridge. He just blacked out everything. That's not what she said. And you know what? We're going to get into that now.
Where he redacted everything in the comments. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. But how have we been? Been a week.
I'm good. I don't know if you saw, I just got dropped off some drinks by the oldest. We've been through the sickness phase here in this house, and my oldest has strep throat to the point where yesterday he's on the couch. He got 105.1 fever. So it's attacking him. He's much better today and hopefully back to school tomorrow, but poor guy's been laid out.
That doesn't seem ideal.
No, he's all right though.
But I feel like sickness just follows around kids, though, right? I mean, it's just what it is. Just their immune system.
Cool. There was a birthday party this weekend. You know what I mean? Like it was. There's stuff going on. So
absolutely. Let's get into it. Let's start off with one of our favorite topics, is obviously gambling. Obviously. And who would have thought that once gambling was legalized, that players would be caught gambling on themselves? Who would have thought? I mean, when all of this came out, like, hey, we're gonna legalize gambling, I was like, oh, that's great, because players won't be able to bet on themselves. That everything's gonna be fine. Said no one ever. Right. Well, now we have the most prolific player in baseball caught up in one of the biggest gambling, accusations.
Yes.
That to me is absolutely wild. Now, I know that you know a little bit more about it because you've been digging in, and I know that there's some really strange prop bets and stuff. So I want to start with that with you and kind of give us a little bit of timeline, because when we looked at it and they said, well, it was all his interpreter, right? Everybody kind of believed it. He bailed out his interpreter. Okay, yeah, whatever. His interpreter has a problem. But then they started digging in even further. And now, how the fuck people are figuring out from an off-the-wall bookie in Japan exactly what bets were being taken, and what bookie allows a multi-million-dollar bet on props? That's another thing in itself. But not only a parlayed prop. Okay, so to me, right. This just doesn't feel like your run-of-the-muck guy that sits in his corner at the back of a bar and plays his bets. This seems to me like an institution. Right.
So from what I understand, the bookie that he was dealing with was based out of California.
But the bets were placed in Japan?
There was a few bets that were placed. So basically, you know what happens, right? This comes out and people start doing a deep dive on different games and different weird things that happened, and then trying to track different things. And they found a few instances of, like, there was an Atlanta Braves game that I can get into that I will say in a minute. But basically, if you're not familiar with the situation, what happened is that the FBI had a large investigation that was looking into gambling in California. What transpired was that they found a bookie, and this bookie who had been advertising on having Shohei Ohtani as a client, saying that Shohei was one of his clients to try to prove how legitimate he was, so on and so forth. Well, the FBI digs in and goes through things and starts, going through different wire transactions and stuff like that. And they see a total of $4.5 million that had been sent from Shohei Ohtani to this bookie. Okay. Now,
so can I stop you right there for 1 second? So the bookie was advertising that Shohei Ohtani bets through him.
Correct.
And this is in America?
Yes. In LA, in California. Because here's the issue. We can say whatever we want to, whether you think gambling is right or wrong. The problem is that in the MLB Players Association guidelines, and the rules are that A, you cannot gamble on baseball. B, you cannot gamble illegally. Okay? So The issue is not that the MLB is saying that Shohei bet on baseball. They're saying that you were found to be illegally betting. Now, supposedly, we'll get to the interpreter part in a second, but supposedly we have found that you have been betting through an illegal source, right? If he was to place these bets in Vegas, none of this would matter. This would have no. If he was to be in Florida, none of this would matter.
Because he's betting on baseball, and he's betting on himself.
Well, there's nothing that says that he's betting on baseball. We don't have proof of that yet, so it's very tough for us to speculate on what.
They found the bet slips about him like betting on his own props under parlaying under 6 strikes, over 6.5 runs on the other team.
You're talking about something that was reported that was supposedly through a source in Japan in his hometown for very large sums of money, which is different from what the FBI is investigating right here.
And also a little nugget that the 3-time put it: gambling is still illegal in California.
Sports betting.
Yeah, well, you just put gambling.
Sports betting
gambling
is not
on
legal.
Sports is still illegal in California.
Illegal.
Yes, illegal.
That is that is the entire issue. There is no other issue. They're not saying that he bet on baseball and so on and so forth. All they're saying is that you illegally gambled on sports while living in the state of California, and it's not allowed. Okay, so let's give a rough timeline right here, because they're in Seoul for the Seoul games, right? They're playing the Padres. This is last week, and we do have opening day that's coming up tomorrow. We are going to get into a little bit of baseball here a little bit later in the show. The Ohtani rep goes on record with ESPN stating that Ohtani had transferred $4.5 million himself to the bookmaker on behalf of, I'm going to say Ipe, but I'm not really sure how you pronounce the translator's name. Then the spokesperson for Ohtani delivers Ipe to ESPN for a statement. Ipe says Ohtani never bet and felt bad for him and paid off his debt, so he'd never do it again. Okay? The spokesperson for Ohtani says Ipe is lying after he gives his 90-minute statement to ESPN. Ohtani's lawyers then claim massive theft. Ipe then says Ohtani had zero knowledge of his debt or his gambling habit in general.
First of all,
tell me. So first of all, and I know Chad sent this out, either Ohtani is not telling the truth, or Ohtani has the worst best friend, interpreter, accountant, manager, agent, and bank in the history of the world. Because there is no bank that is allowing your interpreter who's not Tyson. We've said,
well, I mean, before. These guys have power of attorney.
Okay, how many loops do you have to jump through to send wire transfers, and especially wire transfers of that amount of money to somebody?
It's actually not as hard as you think.
Okay, but it's not easy, and you're going to need.
It actually kind of is.
There's no way they're doing it without Ohtani's approval.
I've said zero shot. All you have to have is his bank account login information. That's it.
There's no shot that Ohtani does not know what's going on.
Well, I mean, it could be something of this. It could be something. Let me tell you how. Right. So, like, if you do a wire transfer of large amounts, now I used one when I put my money into my investment account. It was 5 digits. Not, again, nowhere near this 7 digits or anything of that nature. But when I did it, I basically put in the information, and then it, just like anytime when you sign on a new device, it sends a code to your phone. It could have very well been somebody saying, "Hey, Ohtani, we're transferring some money over here, code to your phone." Or I'm sure his account has the code. I don't know. Boom, code's in and it's gone. Now, I will say this. I was listening to a little bit of Colin Cowherd the other day because I really can't stand him most of the times.
It's tough. It's a tough listen.
And he was trying to portray, he was going through about all of the athletes that have been scammed and trying to allude that Shohei Ohtani was scammed out of this money by a king in Nigeria type thing. That's right. Literally what he was. Now, he also did say, and I will give him a little bit, not that he's a complete idiot. He would say, I really hope that this is true. That's what he would say. I hope that he got scammed. But, I mean, I'll tell you, he definitely wasn't using Zelle the 3-time. Yeah, that limit. But to your point, like, it's just same thing with Phil Mickelson, right? Like, who's transferring millions of dollars and leaving a paper trail like this? I'll tell you, I didn't believe anything, right? I was like, you know what? I'm going to, which one is this? This is this one. I'm going to believe he's innocent. right? I'm going to believe that,
I said this to you this morning.
I'm going to believe, I don't think so, right? Like, he doesn't seem, a lot of sports, things of that nature. Then I heard about the prop bets that he was putting on. And then Jeff sends this video this morning. Now, this video right here, he is 100% guilty. He is a degenerate gambler. And if you watch this video and don't understand why, then you're probably not a degenerate. But this is the video right here. There is no sound. So watch this. He's playing with his boys, right? We're trying to get, we're trying to lay it there, trying to get the closest. Boom. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that excitement. That dude is a degenerate. Look, his buddy didn't get it.
And then he's like, that is who's next to him, right?
10 grand.
That
his interpreter?
That's his interpreter. That's the thing, is that's been his best friend for years and years, and like they grew up together, right? Like that is his best friend in the world.
It's very, very weird. It's just weird, man. It's just really, really weird. The fact that this, first of all, what bookie advertises that they have a professional athlete betting under them to try to garner more fucking, like, that was the first problem right there. That was the first problem. Like, and where did you find said bookie? Like, I mean, my God. And from my understanding is the bookie is not under any trouble. He's not in any trouble.
Well, he's the one under the FBI investigation.
Right, but he's still walking on the streets.
Well, of course. Well, yeah.
I mean,
you know the way it works, Tyson.
I mean, the tax man's coming. So this is one of the
don't
better
want
ones
him.
here.
They want his boss,
Well, back in the 70s and 80s, I wish I'd have had an interpreter. I'd be scot-free. Well, back in the 70s.
You tell him, Petey.
So I will give you a quick breakdown of some of the conspiracy theories about different games real quick, that Shohei has not performed well, and there was large sums. And this is complete speculation. Anybody could have these bets, but I will tell you, this comes from a Twitter account, and I'll just go ahead and they did a deep dive into some of these things, and I'll just go ahead and run through it real quick. It is highlighted Ohtani throwing games, a thread. Number 1, July 22nd, 2022. A bet of $1 million was placed for the Atlanta Braves to score over 6.5 runs against the Los Angeles Angels, parlayed with Braves minus 3.5. The bet was placed with a bookie in Mizusawa, which is Shohei's hometown, the pitcher for the Angels. On that day, Shohei Ohtani is pitching. The stats were as follows. 6 1/3, 6 earned runs, 1 walk at the plate, 2 strikeouts. Obviously, bet hits. July 4th, 2023, America's birthday. A bet was placed in the same hometown with the same bookie for $4.2 million on the over on the Padres run total. Guess who was pitching? Shohei Ohtani. 5 innings pitched, 5 earned runs while going over 3 at the plate, not even 10 days later. You want one more?
I mean, give me one more, and then I want to make a point on this, and then we're going to move
$10
on.
million bet was placed by the same bookie, same town. A parlay with plus 2,500 odds. Astros minus 1.5. Astros over 6.5. Shohei over 4.5 runs allowed. Shohei under 6.5 Ks. Game total over 11.5. Shohei's line for that day: 6 innings pitched, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, while allowing 2 home runs. Shohei went 2 for 5 at the plate. The extra motivation to make the over cash looks like it really helps.
Here's my biggest takeaway of all of that. Like, as far as fixing games to win, he still lost. He still had to pay $4.5 million. So that to me would go further along the lines of him not, or maybe this, maybe he was down so much money, right, from this other gambling that this, because let's be honest, if you're putting $1 million something on a multiple prop parlay, I mean, those odds are insane.
So
it just
real quick,
maybe that was his get back, right? So he threw a game to get back to close to even.
The 3-time commented, this is typical baseball dugout games that players do during the course of the game when sitting on the bench. 1,000%, Jeremy.
And they're all degenerate gamblers.
And let me tell you something. there is an itch there that needs to be scratched at some times in life. There just is. It's just the way it goes. If you competitively played sports, which we all have, that sometimes there is an itch there that needs to be scratched, and sometimes you just want to blade some money on something. Kind of like
I tend to itch my scratch.
Kind of like
so. Yeah, another guy that had a little scratch to itch was Toronto Raptors' Jonte Porter, caught betting on his own props. Now, this one makes a little bit more sense because, let's be honest, Jonte Porter is at the bottom half of the NBA pay scale, even though the bottom half of the NBA pay scale is probably the top 10% of all Americans, what they make. That's
right
here to there. But he was caught betting on his own props, and I wish I could have found the video today, but I couldn't find it this morning as I was scrolling through yesterday. There's a video of him wide open at a three-point line where he's obviously trying to miss this three-pointer, and he banks it in, and then he's kind of like, I know I sent that out to the group, like, who could have thunk it? Like, I mean, again, who could have thunk it? I mean, we opened up this Pandora's box, which I think is absolutely okay. Like, for the fact of anybody to tell you how you can spend your money, to me, is absolutely egregious for you to say. And that goes, I'll go as far as saying drugs as well. I'm just saying that. If you want to be a degenerate and spend your money on XYZ, then you should be able to. Don't really care. Don't care. If you want to kill yourself through this shit and go down that dark road, hey, man, more power to you. There should be nobody that tells you I can't do this. No. All right. I mean, imagine, back in, the days in England or whatever, when, society was just getting started and they found this plant and the guy's like, I'm going to smoke that. And no, you're not. Yeah, right. You probably got your head chopped off. But this is a huge issue, man.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with Jonte Porter, he is a rotational piece for the Toronto Raptors. And he's actually the brother of Michael Porter Jr., a superstar, not a superstar, but a star.
He's definitely the upper half
for the Denver Nuggets, who won the NBA championship last year. He was a key cog in that rotation, still is, and a really good player. But Michael Porter Jr. was the number one player coming out of high school. Him and his brother ended up moving to Washington with his dad, who was a high school basketball coach. They ended up playing for Brandon Roy. Jonte Taylor is the brother of him. Michael Porter Jr. goes pro. Jonte Taylor and him had both gone to Missouri for 1 year. Michael Porter Jr. goes pro, gets drafted, falls in the draft because of back issues. Jonte Taylor returns for 1 year, tears his ACL before the season starts, ends up never playing another game in college, ends up going into the league. Now he plays for the Toronto Raptors. And the two games that are in question, there's two games that are in question. They're like 4 days apart. It's like January 23rd and 27th. I don't know, something like that. But there was large sums of money placed by him on his under props. Okay. One game, he played like a minute and a half and left with a eye injury. Okay. The other game, he played like 45 seconds and then left because of illness. So because he actually like entered the game and played, I guess I don't know if that's the way that it registers as a bet. He had to play X amount to make sure that it was actually legit. But yes, that's why the red flag started popping up. It's like 2 games in a row and somebody just hammered this guy's under prop. Who did that? Oh, it was him that did it. So that's a big issue. I know Jeremy just sent something out about the NCAA as well too, coming down a little bit of a ruling today as well.
Well, Charlie Baker is seeking to remove college props from all betting markets. Let me just help you out, buddy. Save your money. It ain't gonna work. Okay. And to Jeff's point earlier, these are paid athletes now.
Yeah, they're of legal age, and we're paying them money. They're employees.
I mean, you're just this is you just trying to save face, I guess. I don't know, but it's going to be a problem. It's always been there. Let's be honest. I mean, there's been also a couple reports of, the New York mob approaching people to throw games, which there's been a couple people that have come out and
SEC,
said that is
the SEC quarterback. You saw that?
I can't remember who it was. I saw 2 different reports saying that. So it's just, it is what it is. I mean, it's never going to go away. My biggest thing is this. Okay. If you catch somebody doing this, I could care less what happens to them. I feel bad for the people that actually bet on him to hit his props. And then he pulls something like that. And that's just something that's always going to be out there, right? I mean, you're never going to know. I mean, it's about the integrity of the game. I think that, we're going to go. I don't know. I think it's going to get way worse. It's going to get
make a law
way worse.
That if you are found guilty of throwing a game or throwing a prop or throwing whatever it is, anybody who can prove that they have a ticket that they bet on you for that fact, you owe them money back. Whatever they bet, you owe them the money back. Personally. No, there was a story that I saw of a SEC quarterback who played for, I want to say it's Vanderbilt, but I'm not 100% sure because the Vanderbilt thing doesn't make much sense to me. I'm like, guy doesn't need to really throw a game. They're going to lose every game by 100 anyway. So who really cares? But he said that he was at a bar. He went to go get a round of drinks for his friends, left the group of friends, went to the bar. There was a large man there who offered him a very large sum of money to make sure that they lost by a certain amount. And he said no to them, but he also said that he knows that in the SEC, in every game that's being played, somebody's being paid for in every game. He said, and he knows multiple people in the NFL right now. He can't name names because they're active NFL players, but have been paid to throw games as well. It's all speculation.
I'm sure it happens. But, I mean, it is what it is.
I couldn't. And that's the other thing too, is like the NIL thing where we talked about like, oh, well, NIL really just changed all this. The players were always getting paid under the table to go to different places.
They just weren't getting paid the sums that they're getting paid now.
Correct. And it wasn't all out in the open where fans knew. But it's almost like
all under the table.
It's almost like we want capitalism, but we want it only to where it's at a certain point, right? Like
that was probably one of the biggest things that I remember a conversation with somebody with Gary V. I can't remember who he was talking about. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about this, and the guy that he was opposed for it. And he's like, why? So now you're suddenly against capitalism?
Yeah.
And, it kind of, resonated with me a little bit, which again, I've said I could care less if they get paid, but don't come to the average people. The ones that are out there, working 40, 80, 60 hours a week and, hey, give us $10 here. I mean, it should come from the people that have the money. So if the boosters want to give the money, absolutely go for it, buddy. If the universities want to actually give up some of their money or the NCAA in that profit pool, which is what this whole pitchfork and torches was all about, I'm all for it. But like I said, like when the Florida Gators come to me and say, we need you to donate now to compete after spending $7,000 a year, it's a firm go fuck yourself.
Amen. And that's I do not blame you whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So, I mean, capitalism is great. I will say this before we move on to March Madness. I will say, though, there is an issue with the narrative that is now coming out of college and the whole setting the precedents, changing things. And I just happen to remember this as we're talking about. We didn't talk about pre-stuff, so I'm going to go off. So it was RG3, of course. Somebody who I cannot stand the majority of the things.
Okay.
So he sat up there and he goes, the players have all the control. The players need all of the control. Without the players, you have nothing. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to finish this. He goes, imagine a league without Patrick Mahomes. Imagine a league without Josh Allen. What kind of a league would that be? And the first thing I thought about was there would be somebody else that would be Patrick Mahomes. There would be somebody else that's Josh Allen. Like if you honestly think we saw Joe Flacco come off the couch and take the Browns to the playoffs. If you're telling me that if Patrick Mahomes left the NFL, that the NFL would crumble, I'm going to look at your face and tell you you're full of shit. It's the same thing as any other company. When you're like the vice president of a company, right? And you're like, I'm accounting for all of this profitability. If you don't name me president, CEO, I'm leaving. What usually happens there? Deuces.
Yeah.
And they go off and they have to start over and they have to make a name for themselves.
Correct.
The NFL is bigger than any player. I'm just going to put that out there. You can have the face of the NFL. You can do all of that. But the NFL is bigger than the players, regardless of what in the NBA, all of it. To sit there and say, well, if LeBron James doesn't play the NBA, there's going to be somebody else that steps up. There just will be. It's been like that through. Like when Jordan left, right? We're all like, Jordan's gone, man. Kobe Kobe steps up. Kobe's gone. LeBron James, Kevin Durant. There will be people that will come up. But
it's crazy that it's still LeBron, by the way. It's crazy that it's still LeBron. Like that.
Well, LeBron's not the best player in the league anymore.
He's
top 10. Maybe top 50. He's up there. I'm just saying, it's not like his dominant years. And even like, I can't remember. I saw something about him. I know he didn't play last night or something about, I guess he has some injury or something.
Great game.
That he said he has to be very, very careful about how
Bucks,
he
Lakers,
plays.
Really good.
Yeah,
game.
Going into it. So yeah, but still, I mean, the longevity of LeBron's career. But that's what I'm saying is like the game is bigger than the players. And when I think that when we get to the mentality of the players are bigger than the game, I think that goes down a very slippery slope. That's all. The game is bigger than the players. It will always be. If the game wasn't there, the players wasn't there. If the NFL wasn't there, the players wouldn't. So back to my original point of, he made the comment about Ryan Poles, the Chicago Bears, their inability to develop a quarterback, and how Caleb Williams should just turn him down to do an Eli Manning, and that even further down the draft, players should stop going to shit teams. That's what he said. And I'm like, bro, like, that's how you get a high pick, RG3. Like, that's how you went to Washington and got beat out by Kirk Cousins. Like, that's the system, man. So while I will say, and I said this before Ryan Poles made all of these other moves, that is something that a top tier prospect quarterback needs to consider. I will say that, because just like Justin Fields, Mitchell Trubisky, the Bears have ruined numerous quarterbacks, ruined them, and they're still in the league. They're backup, but they never got that big paycheck because the Bears' inability to develop. Now, Ryan Poles was also asked about this. And he, you know what he said? He goes, it pisses me off. He goes, when we were brought into Kansas City with myself and Andy Reid, we were there to change the narrative. We did that. I was hired in Chicago to change the narrative. I'm doing that. So to sit there and say, hey, don't go there, like, it's just not the same team. But anyway, I think like when you get to those types of arguments, the players are bigger than the game. I think that it really sets up for not good stuff. Not good stuff. But anyway,
I do want to do a quick callback, because I was trying to think of the Vandy quarterback, and the 3-time helped me out with all the information. It was Vandy quarterback Mo Hassan said the mob offered him $300,000 in a bar to throw a game. He said he said that the mob guy said, we regularly talk to guys in your position about fixing games. He named guys in the SEC who I don't want to say their names because they're in the NFL right now, and that's a bad look. But the University of Alabama, he said almost every game in the SEC is rigged. Take that for what it is. When it comes
I'm surprised but did he take the money? Because $300,000 playing for Vandy is a lot of fucking money. Did he say if he took the money?
No, he said he didn't take the money.
I'm gonna have to audit his financials.
Definitely not. Right. I'm sure the IRS is, doing a deep dive as we go. I was listening. It was funny because you mentioned about Colin Cowherd, and I don't like listening to Colin Cowherd either. But usually when I'm driving to school to get my kids or whatever it is, 740 or 96.9, whatever you listen to locally, it's on. And so I had it on, and he had Mick Cronin on, and Mick Cronin was talking about how do we fix NIL in the college system. And he said that, and I completely agree with what Mick Cronin said. He said the problem is that we don't have any guidelines. It is literally just the wild, wild west. Kids can do whatever they want to. They can transfer whatever they want to. They can get paid whatever they want to. They don't have to live up to any kind of, agreement unless there's a signed contract. Then you got to litigate it in civil court and so on and so forth. It's a nightmare. What they need is they need a handful of players. They need a handful of coaches. They need a handful of ADs. They need a handful of presidents. They all need to go sit down in a room with some senator or whoever it is and hash out litigation and figure it out and come up with a guideline. Because until they do that, we are still going to continuously have these problems and nothing is going to change.
I agree 100%. And I think MLB needs to be right behind them as far as a salary cap. I mean, I agree with all of it. Like I said, and it needs to come from somebody else. That's all I'm saying. Like, just like you, I know you donate to the collective that puts out for Florida State, and I know there's a Gator one and all this other stuff. But, at one point, we're talking about donating to this to help build the team. And then the other point, we're talking about every SEC game is rigged. So does it matter what team I put out there?
Yeah. You know,
I mean,
and it's funny too because we're in a different day and age, and I say it all the time. Like I used to never like any social media posts. I don't care. It's not my thing. Whatever. I'll do this with you all day, but I'm not going to go on social media and go crazy. But I did make it a point to like when I would see recruits for Florida State, put stuff out. The like matters sometimes, dude. Like, like and I've made it a point to like force myself to do that. To force myself to like social media posts by recruits or by current players, because that's in addition to donating to the collective, that's just how these players receive their love now. And it's what they need, and it's a different day and
they
age.
definitely need coddling.
It's a different day and age, man. Really is. So
I mean, any example that you need to this is just look at Bears Twitter right now. Bears Twitter is just absolutely melting down.
Why?
Have been for months. Apparently, they're doing some bracket. They're doing some bracket thing. I don't know, dude. What's up, Buff? Welcome in, buddy. Always good to see you.
The Caleb fingernails is a problem to them or something, or
let's since we're still talking about the NFL, let's keep on to the NFL. We'll finish up March Madness and MLB. So the NFL changed the kickoff rules.
Yes.
Now, let's see.
Have you saw what it looks like in the XFL, or do you have the video of it? Okay.
I mean, this is kind of video. I'm going to keep it muted, but it's going to kind of go through.
Okay. Perfect. I love this. I didn't know we had this.
Yeah, this is the no running starts.
Yep.
At least 2 players outside the numbers. 2 players between numbers and a hash. Now we're going to bring all of these players up. And then I do believe if you kick it into the end zone, they get the ball at the 35. It has to land inside the 20. There's no more fair catch.
Yeah.
And the players cannot leave until the guy catches the ball.
This is going to be fun for special teams coordinators this year. I tell you what. And can you imagine? Like, this is my thing too. Can you imagine if the Dolphins just put Tyreek Hill back there? Like, and you're telling me that Tyreek Hill gets to go run back there and catch a ball, and then these guys have to wait for him to receive it for them to start running after him. It's going to be electric. I feel like we can say whatever we want to. I feel like this is going to add a different dynamic to the game that is a lot of fun. Fantasy football, like who's got good returners, on your special teams player. I don't know. There's a completely different
Devin Hester somewhere is licking his chops about why am I not in the league.
Could you have imagined a Devin Hester or a Dante Hall, or who's Ian's goat on the
I block him out.
Michael Westbrook or something like that. Returning kicks. It's unbelievable. Can you imagine Deion back there? Like
so if they kick the ball in the end zone, so it's essentially a no kick or touchback. They get the ball at the 35-yard line. So of course nobody's going to be doing that. That I was something, the hang time doesn't really matter anymore because it doesn't matter how long the ball, because you can't move until I think probably what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring up some XFL highlights because this is where they got this from.
Yeah.
XFL. So I'm going to look at a few of those highlights and then, next week have a little bit better understanding about it. But
interesting. So I wonder where the way the rule is, because I remember Florida State used to do this when they had Aguayo as their kicker, is they would kick the ball straight up in the air. It'd be really high up in the air, right? But it would still be like a 30 or 40-yard kick to the point where guys could run underneath it. You either have to fair catch it or kind of let it go. But so could you? I don't know. Or maybe even like a squib kick or something. Like, I don't know. I don't know how that works.
We shall see. It's going to be very, very interesting.
And
what's up, Justice?
What up, Justice? And then the hip drop tackle as well, too.
Give me a break, dude. Now, I really hope that they test. I mean, let's be honest here. We don't see it very much, right? We don't see the hip tackle very much. But, I mean, what are you supposed to do as a defender anymore? Like,
how do you bring down Derrick Henry?
Yeah, what are we doing here, man?
Yeah.
What are we doing? I mean, it's absolutely crazy. But yeah, I don't see how. I hope that it gets tested in the preseason and then dropped.
Well, and
I mean, as much kickback as they've already gotten, I do believe it was J.J. Watt said he might as well just go ahead and strap the flags on them at this point. Like, what are we supposed to do? I mean, we're turning into flag football.
Yeah, and it's tough too, especially because I understand from a defender's perspective, and I understand from the NFL's perspective of they don't want their stars getting their ankles rolled up on, which is what you see happen all the time. It's what you saw happen to Jordan Travis. It's the reason Florida State obviously didn't make the college football playoff. So I have a certain bias toward hip drop tackles. However, I do empathize with defenders in the NFL about how tough this is going to be on them. Where do you hit a guy? You can't go high.
Can't hit him high.
Can't go low.
You don't want to low. And now I can't wrap them around with
And
their
you
hips
can't-
around their waist.
You can't wrap him around and then fling him down on the other side. So I don't know.
It's going to be a great year for fantasy football offense.
Yeah. It
Well,
seems
let's get into a little bit of NFL draft and draft rumors now. It appears that the Chicago Bears are absolutely locked in with Caleb Williams at the number 1 pick. It looks like there's no changing this. Now, I will say I did watch a few videos now of Mr. Caleb Williams and his throws. What?
Nothing.
You want to bring him in? You want to get his opinion on something? Does he want to chime in?
I don't. He's trying to hand me a box of Chick-fil-A. Like I'm gonna,
Get him breakfast? Oh,
get that. No, I think this is
those little mini biscuits are good. Oh, it is 11:40. Oh,
I had Denny's. We had Denny's for we do the breakfast thing sometimes. So I had a nice little omelet last night, little egg white omelet with a bunch of.
I've been doing last night. You said.
Yeah, we did like a breakfast instead of
I had oatmeal for dinner the other night. Loved it.
Yeah, and I had
I've been
blueberry pancakes to indulge a little bit. So it was like I had the yin and the yang, and then whatever.
I've been doing this intermittent fasting, and honestly, like
how's it working?
I'm here. I'm dropping down 20 pounds.
Okay.
I know everybody. I know the camera doesn't really, but just trust me. There was a little bit around the waist there that we dropped. Yeah, so like I don't eat until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I just have like some coffee in the morning. Works out great. I'm not even really hungry. But anyway,
so when's your last meal that you eat then? Like at night?
Well, because I'm old, I have like some fiber, some Metamucil. So like I eat dinner like at 5 o'clock. And then I have some Metamucil like around 8:30, and that's it.
Can't just drink a coffee.
Well, I have coffee in the morning.
Okay.
It's just weird, man. I don't know. It's weird.
Coffee's still calories, right? Technically,
not kind of, but not really. The honey I put in there is a little bit sketchy.
Okay.
But whatever, man. It's working. So back to the NFL draft. So it appears that the Chicago Bears are
honey. Vegans don't use honey.
I don't fuck the vegans, dude. They're idiots.
What?
We were actually just talking about this, right? We're talking about, we're kind of getting our survival mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like getting some stuff. And I'm like,
are you worried about April 8th?
No, I'm actually going to be in Vancouver for that. So,
cool.
Yeah, I'll be traveling to a different country during that.
I went down a rabbit hole yesterday. Let me just tell you.
Yeah,
I went down a rabbit hole for an hour and a half yesterday, and my algorithm is completely just.
Oh, it's wonderful.
It's anyway.
I told you.
I know Jeremy's looking weird. Listen, April 8th, there's going to be a
eclipse.
There's an eclipse, and it's the like one of the longest eclipses that we've had since the 1800s. There's an intersection point of the eclipse
over the
Midwest, and it ends up in like the city is called Rapture, and it's like there's a lot going on. We're gonna just move on.
I'm more under the bridge in Maryland was done on purpose type conspiracy stuff. So anyway,
yeah, there's some stuff out there about like there's like a nuclear bomb being transported, and like like they had to like shut down the bridge, and it was like Jack Reacher was out there on the ship, and that's why they called the people first to make sure there was no cars on the bridge, and
Reacher,
there's 6 casualties. It's like,
bro, what if shit like that? Really
it's not even. Here's the other thing. There's not even 6 casualties. There's 6 people unaccounted for.
Well, there's cars down there. Yeah, they've sonared like 4 or 5 cars that are. One was like a cement truck and some others.
Yeah, there's construction workers supposedly, which is also a little bit of a red flag, right? Okay.
But anyway, so back to it. So we're like, hey, I'm gonna get some of this because I already have some space food, right? That like I have like a 7-day supply.
Okay.
And so I'm like, hey, if this shit goes sideways, right, and I have like a year supply worth of food, I go, first of all, your parents just gonna be crashing the party. because then my rations don't equate.
6 months.
And your sister's a vegan.
Oof.
So, anyways, I'm like,
Yeah.
whatever. I go, the doors are going to be locked, dead bolted. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, let's get back to the NFL here. Let's get back. So it looks like the Bears are locked into Caleb Williams. I finally broke down, not necessarily searched for the videos, but it came up because I was watching a couple of videos of Caleb Williams in a dress and his nails painted. That my algorithm changed, so I started seeing some clips of his pro days. And I will say this: I mean, the kid looks like he's got a gun. He's got a quick release. Again, I've said it before, whatever pulls aside, whatever, I just wanted it over. So it looks like we're locked in there. Now is when it gets a little interesting because for whatever reason, Jim Harbaugh has talked up J.J. McCarthy so much that there's now rumors of him going number 2, number 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what? There's rumors of the Arizona Cardinals looking at J.J. McCarthy, possibly trying to trade Kyler Murray to the Minnesota Vikings.
Where do the Chargers pick?
I think they're at 5.
Huh.
5.
So what player would you want to maybe drop to you there if you could get the first 4 teams to take quarterbacks?
Well,
and
I'm him, I'm going Joe Alt. I mean, I'm getting protection for, but I mean, you got this particular draft has him taking Rome Odezunu.
Let's just hypothetical this real quick. All right. You're Jim Harbaugh. Okay. You're definitely not taking JJ McCarthy. But if you talk JJ McCarthy up enough and you have the 5th pick, maybe the 4 teams in front of you get convinced to take somebody. Who do the Chargers just trade away or get rid of? Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Now you can reset that position by bringing in Marvin Harrison Jr. And all you had to do was just talk about how great JJ McCarthy was for the offseason.
There's rumors of them even going past him. I sent out this one from Mike Tannenbaugh's draft the other day, which to me, I mean, that's just he has potentially Marvin Harrison Jr. dropping to 9 at the Bears.
Yeah, which is that's a pipe dream. Literally,
first of all, I don't think the Bears would take him. I would like to see the Bears make a move for Joe Alt. I really would. He's the best offensive tackle in this draft. I think that's where I would like to see him. But, I mean,
I would like to see the Bears trade that pick.
Well, we'll see, because as we said, Ryan Poles likes to build through the draft. So after Caleb Williams, I mean, at 9, I mean, who are you really? But, I mean, this has, it depends on who's there. Malik Neighbors could be there. I mean, that's a good pickup for 9. But, I mean, again, it just depends on how many picks you have. We're still talking about the Vikings that are going to look at the trade up. Jared Verse is out there, as you well know. I mean, the Bears need another stud edge rusher to go on with Montez Sweat.
Sweat and Verse on the ends.
That'd be pretty deadly. You got the Broncos that are back there. I think the 2 most interesting picks, honestly, for me is 11 and 12. The Minnesota Vikings and the Denver Broncos. And you could even go to 13 with the Las Vegas Raiders. All 3 of those guys need quarterbacks. All 3 of them. Now, if there's one of these quarterbacks available at 9, which could happen, J.J. McCarthy could be there at 9. You don't know. I mean, we don't know. Who knows? Bo Nix, I don't know. Any of those guys, that could be an interesting trade to where you trade down and then pick up another 2nd-round pick, right?
Absolutely.
I think that would be good, but I mean, I don't know what Ryan Poles' targets are. I don't know. I mean, to think about bringing in another one of these young receivers, because Keenan Allen is on the last year of his deal. So, I mean, it's going to be kind of a one and done unless they re-sign him, but I couldn't see
I'd love seeing him at the pro day of Caleb Williams. I thought that was pretty cool.
That interaction was weird. You never commented on that, but that interaction was weird.
I didn't think it was weird. I just thought it was Caleb going out. He didn't even notice it was Keenan Allen. Then he saw Keenan Allen. He's like, "Oh shit, Keenan Allen, what's up, man? Blah blah blah."
But then, he just immediately turned away.
He has business to get to as well too. And I loved Caleb's reaction.
That whole pro day was about him, bro. He could pretty much do whatever he wanted to do that day.
I loved Caleb's reaction after the pro day when they said, "Oh, what do you think?" And he said, "I missed 2 throws deep," which was exactly what happened. He missed 2 deep balls the entire day. So yeah, I mean, I thought just his demeanor, the way he handled it, Very matter of factly, I messed up. I missed 2 deep balls.
Yep. I mean, well, I whatever it is, man, I'm looking forward to getting in the clubhouse, getting to work. Let's see what happens, because through this draft, if we can do some good moves here, that's a playoff team.
This is a make or break draft for Ryan Poles.
It should have been a playoff team last year with a couple of just terrible defensive collapses.
They were better than the Packers.
I didn't say they had to be, but they still could have been in the playoffs. I mean, they had 10 wins. I mean, what?
Okay.
But what?
You would have had to have been better than the Packers to make the playoffs.
Okay, I'm just talking about if you went through the regular season, and I think we had 3 of the epic collapses. Three times. Correct me if I'm wrong. I do believe there was 3 epic collapses. We would have been 10-7, and that's 1 game better than the Packers.
Okay. I agree.
So therefore, now I will say the Packers in the playoffs were a completely different team. They look tough. So it's gonna be good.
We got 10 minutes to do MLB picks and NCAA.
All right, let's move on to the NCAA. Then March Madness is upon us, and I can honestly care less this year.
Yeah,
I don't think there ever. After I watching the Florida game, I was down in Clearwater, down in Clearwater at a card show, making some deals. Shout out to everybody down there. Great time. Tampa Bay Card Show. Looking forward to being back. I think it was like 2 minutes ago. We were down 10 points. I kind of just turned my back on it, had it up on the laptop, turned around. We're down by 3. And I'm like, oh shit, he's got the ball. He shoots an egregious shot that didn't need, like, full sprint, pro Bang. Distance, flies. I think he even landed inside of the arc. Like, he literally jumped 6 feet in motion, nothing but net. Swish. Now, this is something I didn't know. I didn't know in college that a timeout, you get the ball at half court. I thought that was pro only. Then why did Colorado get the ball at half court with 6 seconds to go?
I think they inbounded the ball, I thought.
Yeah, from half court.
You don't.
Yeah, that's why they had 6 seconds. They were so from 6 seconds, they didn't run the full length of the court.
Kid hit an incredible shot, and then honestly, I mean the fadeaway on the end, or on the baseline to put him up 2. But then I also I'm like, oh damn, like Florida doesn't have any timeouts to set something up. But the kid almost makes the half court heave.
There was a lot of stuff going on there. A lot of poor officiating throughout the game, I felt, and. Let's be honest, guys. I do follow Florida men's basketball, but I don't get, honestly, any college sports. I'm not to the point where I was, like, where I'm like intense. I just felt like it was pretty one-sided. Obviously, the very end, the guy definitely pushes off. I mean, that was clear as day. But then I did meet up with somebody else, and who used to be a ref, and he brought up a good point. He's like, "Do you want the game to end that way?" And I said, "Absolutely not." So. That is what it is. I'm bringing it up right here, actually, just this end. So I want to.
It was pretty much a weekend full of chalk.
Right. So he makes the shot there.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a timeout called. All right. Here's the timeout. Try to fast forward a little bit here. Here we go. Come back out. Okay. Can we milk this any further? They got the ball at half court. How did they get the ball? You can't advance the ball on a timeout. How did they get the ball at half court with 6 seconds to go?
Did that rule change, Jeremy? Under
no
seconds?
And even the guy that said he was the former ref said that they don't get the ball at half court. I'm like, they got the ball at half court. Now, unless there was something I missed after he made the shot that they hurry up and threw it in. So right here. Oh, no, they did. Right there. Yep. I did miss that.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah. So he made the shot. They got the ball over half court real quick and then called timeout. Yeah, 9.5. All right, cool. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I wasn't.
Yeah, okay, there it is.
Because I was like,
So
oh,
there was
there's
actually
goal.
9.5 seconds. Yeah, because I didn't see that, so I just saw it now. But there, I was flipping out. I'm like, how you get the ball at half court?
So lots
But
of chalk.
definitely a foul.
This is the first time since I want to say like 2016 or something like that that you have all ones and twos still alive in the tournament. It was so funny. Friday, we put out the picks or whatever, and I think Friday we went like 0 for 15 or something like that. We didn't win one game. I mean, in terms of favorites, in terms of whatever it was, didn't win one game. Well, we head into Saturday, and we put out like eight or 9 games, right? We go undefeated in all the games that we put out. And Ian decides to take everything. He does like a ladder kind of a parlay where he does like a 2-team or a 4-team or a 2-team or 3-team or 4-team or 5-team or 6-team or 7-teamer and literally hits every single one. So must be good to be that guy. But yeah, just lots of chalk. Really,
he could use a win. He could use a win in his life.
No, fuck it. Lots of chalk. You have Houston and Duke that's going to be played. UConn, San Diego State as well too. UConn is just absolutely unstoppable. Houston, Duke, I have no clue. I think Houston wins the game. Duke played so well against James Madison. I don't know, man. That's a tough one as well. Illinois, Iowa State. The Shannon kid has just been on fire. Iowa State's been really good as well too. That should be a fun one. It's going to be a late start as well. So if you're getting out of work on Thursday late, you'll be able to catch that one very late as well too. The other one, Marquette, NC State that we have as well. So Marquette, NC State should be a great
Gonzaga.
One. Yeah, Purdue, Gonzaga.
The
Zags are playing so well right now. I feel like Tennessee's just playing really good, man. And I think Tennessee can definitely beat Creighton. Arizona, Clemson, either of these teams, I'm not really sure what to make of. And you have North Carolina and Alabama, which is probably going to be a shootout.
So could this be the first year that we have 1-2 on every single bracket? This could definitely play out. You could have 1-2
every single. Yeah. I don't know if that's ever happened before, but it's definitely in theory like very easy.
We're all number ones. I mean, obviously I'm going to be rooting for my hometown Fighting Illini. They've been putting together. Danger has been an absolute beast in the paint. It was nice to see Underwood finally put him in there. Every time he's in, he just completely disrupts the game. So I'm glad to see that they're utilizing him more and more. They absolutely just dismantled Duquesne or whatever. How do you say it? But to your point, if they do win, they're going up against UConn. And UConn does look unstoppable.
They're so good. They have like the best starting 5 and they have the 6th man of the year. Like they're really well coached.
I just wish that people were more excited for the men's than they are the women's this year, because obviously everyone is just really excited and locked into the women's NCAA tournament this year versus
Did you
the
watch
men's.
Caitlin Clark?
No, I just don't like her.
Really?
I just don't. I respect everything she's done for the game. I just don't like her.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like her.
Listen, I'm really hoping and praying that we get this Iowa versus LSU.
And that's another one I don't like. So that will be one of the games that's like, I hope they don't like. I don't know.
I want to see them play. I absolutely want to see them play.
I don't know. I'm more of the speak quietly, carry a big stick type thing.
Okay. I like that. We do have a little baseball. I don't know if you just want to touch on. I know you've already done a few drafts, but who do you got for your division winners and maybe a World Series pick this year?
That's a
opening day tomorrow.
That's
Jeremy. You're not taking the trip to Mecca this year, huh? No day trip up to Wrigley for the game and fly back same day. Very interesting to me.
Let me see here. All right, here we go. All right, American League East.
Yes.
I think that the Baltimore Orioles continue on their amazing. I think that they have so many youngsters. The fact that Jackson Holiday got demoted, that's how deep they are.
No, it's not about that.
Well, it's because they're so deep, he had to put him in a different position.
No,
what do you mean?
It's about service time.
Well, that could be as well. But regardless, give me the Baltimore Orioles.
Service time. That's it. Same thing you guys did with Chris Bryant. Same thing we did with, we do with all of our prospects as well too. Just
I'm
trying to
not
control him.
denying it. I'm not
Yeah.
denying anything here.
You just want more control.
That worked out well for Chris Bryant. Yikes.
KB.
He got paid. One of the most intriguing things that I think here is the Boston Red Sox finishing last in the division.
Don't know what to make of him this year.
I don't know, but I'm going who do you got in the American League East?
I like the New York Yankees this year.
Okay.
I think the Bronx Bombers just are going to be too good. I think as long as this Cole thing isn't like too crazy, I think they'll be right there.
I put my shit on auto draft on my other league because it was just getting late and I just was done with it, and it drafted David Montgomery, who isn't even signed.
He just signed. Yesterday.
Did he sign with the Yankees?
He did not.
Who did he sign with?
Signed with the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Oh, even better. Great. Another awesome, great pick, Yahoo. Great pick.
You get to face the Dodgers a bunch.
Get to face the Dodgers and great humidity, which makes the ball fly. American League Central. I think this is going to be a race between the Twins and the Tigers. Believe it or not, I think the Tigers have made some pretty sneaky moves.
Okay.
Give me the Twins again. I just think they're a little bit deeper.
I have no clue, but I'm just going to put a team out there and say the Cleveland Guardians.
Not a bad pick.
We'll make it happen.
American League West. Does anybody have anybody but the Astros? The Rangers do look sneaky.
The Rangers are the reigning World Series champs. We got to put some respect on their name. But I do agree with you. I think this is an Astros bounce back year. I think they're young kids and they're older guys too. Just it's a perfect mesh right now.
Do I even need to ask about the NL East?
I think the Braves take a step back this year. I think their rotation is not as good as we hope. A lot of it's going to hinge on Chris Sale and how good he can be. But it just feels to me like the Phillies have our number. And it sucks because I hate them.
I'm still going Braves. I'm still going to go Braves.
I'm going to go.
So you're going to go Phillies?
Yeah.
All right. And of course, the NL Central. Obviously, the Cubs just are going to win every year. I will say I like. Oh, come on! Now you're just trolling.
I didn't say the Cardinals. I didn't go with my boy Ollie Marmol. I didn't. I said
at least pick somebody that has contention. Like even the Reds would be a sexy dark horse pick. What is it? The Pirates have never competed.
Okay, fine. You're right. I'll go Cincinnati Reds. We'll go Ellie De La Cruz is going to be the man this year. Incredible player, and catapult them to a division title.
NL West, obviously Dodgers.
I'm going to take the San Francisco Giants.
Okay. Wild cards. I'm going to go out of the AL.
How many do we get?
2, 3 per division. I'm going to go Yankees.
Okay.
Tampa Bay Rays.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle Mariners.
Okay.
That's my AL wild cards.
I will go Toronto Blue Jays. I will go Minnesota Twins, and I will go Texas Rangers.
All right, Texas. Okay. Wild card for the NL. I'm going to go the Phillies. I'm going to go the Padres and the Cardinals.
I am going to go the Atlanta Braves. I am going to go the Los Angeles Dodgers. And I am going to go the Miami Marlins.
Yep. American League World Series representative.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is tough. This is really tough. Shit. Ugh. I'm going to go the Orioles just because I think the other contending teams, the Astros, the Yankees, I fucking hate both of them. And they've been there. So, give me the dog, man. Give me the Baltimore Orioles.
I am going to take the New York Yankees. to go to the World Series this year.
National League. This is tough, man, because obviously the Dodgers, man, the Dodgers just look whatever. But postseason comes, the Dodgers seem to shrink. They just shrink. Clayton Kershaw goes into like a shell. I do like the spark that the Phillies have in regards to their playoff appearances. I don't think the Cubs have the pitching. That's my biggest issue with the Cubs right now is I don't think that they have the starting pitching to compete. And the Cubs throughout the years, their number has been when they go up against elite pitching, they shrink. Give me the Phillies. I'm going to go the Phillies.
I'm going to go the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the New York Yankees in the World Series, and I will take the New York Yankees to win the World Series.
And I will take the Phillies. Wow.
God, that feels like just a punch in the gut right there.
You don't have to tell me. I feel like punching myself in the gut.
All right.
Can't wait to see what happens. So MLB does start tomorrow.
Yes,
the real MLB, the American MLB, not this Seoul, Korea shit. All right. None of that supposedly counted, which is the most un-American thing ever for America's pastime to be started in another country, which apparently the Cubs are going to Japan next year to start the season. Maybe that'll be a road trip. That's going to do it on my end, Jeffrey. Anything else to add before we get out of here? Now, Gap Wedge Wednesday will be coming up on the second segment here. So if you're tuning in for that, just be sure to just hang out for a second. You'll see it go off. We'll be back in probably 5-10 minutes, and you will see the Gap Wedge Wednesday boys back with the complete breakdown of golf action. Anything else on this side, my friend?
I got nothing, brother. I hope you listen. Everybody enjoy March Madness this weekend. Baseball starting this weekend. Golf tournaments this weekend. The F1 thing. Do you have some stuff coming down the pipes with that? I know I was trolling you a little bit with the Max Verstappen stuff.
Me and my cousin have been looking. We just with the card show last week. It's just been a little tough to get together on the time. Okay. We would love to be able to create that segment. As we're finding out, the more that we're out there, there is a large audience that's growing in America for F1. We sold a lot of our F1 cards at the last show, a lot of people involved in it. So it is definitely something we're going to be on. Obviously, last race, Max Verstappen, brakes catch on fire. He's out of the race. Everyone, obviously rejoices because they have a shot. I will say Carlos Sainz, she's just a troll, dude. She's a troll. She's just a big troll. Carlos Sainz, I would have loved to seen it happen, man, because I think Carlos Sainz had the speed to keep up, at least in theory. Even though it appeared Max brake was locked for most of the race. But you know what that also is projected is possibly Carlos Sainz being a part of Red Bull next year and taking over for Checo Perez. So there was actually a lot of implications that happened on that race. So definitely one that we'll probably get together this week on Friday, do F1 Friday, and we'll break down that one and back to the next week as well.
All right,
because we do have an off week. What's that?
I said I look forward to tuning in and hearing it.
Absolutely. Looks like I think me and the wife are going to go down and catch the Warriors tonight at the Magic game. So go Magic. We have tickets. We'll see.
I thought you were selling them. Somebody told me that they bought courtside tickets to the Warriors game too, and I was like, "Oh, you probably bought Tyson's tickets."
I did put them up for sale today, just because Aunt Flo's in town, things of that nature.
Jesus Christ. Have a great day.
Everybody, have a good one. And if you're driving this week, stay out of the left-hand lane. See you then.